All right, I think without further ado, let's quickly launch what we have for you. I did tell you earlier on that the Nnpc, of course, Nnpc Limited, and let me say that company is not called Nnpcl. There's nothing like Nnpcl. It is Nnpc Limited. That is the company that is registered at the Corporate Affairs Commission. So it's not Nnpcl. It's Nnpc Limited. All right, audited financial statements for 2023. Let's just take you through that. And you watch. And I hope to see you all again tomorrow because at the end of this, you see me tomorrow. And you can send your comments as well as your opinions, your questions to our social media platforms. I am Nancy. I'll see you all again tomorrow. Be the best you can be and be the change that you want to see.
AGM on the 16th of August 2024 and considered the 2023 audited financial statement of the group, which revealed an excellent performance, being the first fruit of the PIA, the commitment of the board, management and staff of the company, thus leading to the attainment of 3.3 trillion profit after tax for 2023 financial year. Accordingly, the shareholders of the company have approved a final dividend of 2.1 trillion in line with the provision of PIA 2021. The CFO of the group will present to you details of our financial performance for the year.
We had made commitment right from 2019 when we stepped in under the leadership of Mr. Melekari to ensure transparency, accountability, and performance excellence. And to that extent, we had also enrolled ourselves into NIATI and EITI to ensure that we do not hide anything for anyone, not to talk of Nigerians who own this company. We are going to share with your good selves the summary highlights of the 2023 results that this company has been able to achieve. It is a reflection of the sheer hard work and commitment of our board, management and staff of Nnpc, who have toiled day and night to ensure that this company remains sustainably on a growth path trajectory and that the profit is growing from year to year. At the end of the briefing, we will make this public through our website so that all Nigerians can have access to it. But first of all, when you look at the performance of this company from 2019 to date, we have never looked backwards. It's always forward. The company, when we took over, was a loss-making corporation. And PIA came into being, and it became a Kama company. We broke even at the end of 2019, and by 2020, we had produced the first profit ever for this company, which is 287 billion naira. The following year, in 2021, the company's profit grew to 674 billion naira. By the third year, in 2022, the profit jumped to 2.5 trillion naira. Of course, in that year, we also had the JV assets transferred from the corporation to us as part of our takeoff assets. Now, in 2023, the profit has also grown by 28%, from 3.5 trillion to 3.297 trillion naira. On the asset side, in 2019, we were literally holding an asset base of 8 trillion naira, which slightly moved to 9.5 trillion in 2020, but by 2021, following the movement of the JV assets to the company, the assets, non-current assets, grew to 15.3 trillion naira. And by 2022, that's the resulting from investments, but then the transfer of the assets in 2022 saw us grow from 15.3 trillion to 37 trillion naira of assets. And that has doubled in 2023, resulting from investments and translation difference. We are expected to produce our financial statements in dollars and translate it into naira, and that's what has happened in 2023. So when you look at the key summary highlights, 2023 highlights. We had a 23.9 trillion naira revenue or turnover, which resulted in a gross profit of 7 trillion, net operating profit of 4.3 trillion, and profit before tax of 5.9. Consequently, we ended the year with 3.297 trillion naira as profit after tax. On the asset side, because of a sizable amount of receivables, the total assets position stood at 246 trillion naira. Of course, the same when we look at the other side of the balance sheet, total liabilities equate to the same. In terms of cash and bank holding, at the end of the year, we had 7.7 trillion naira in the banks. And interim dividend paid during the year was 536 billion naira. So these were amounts that we used to pay every month into the Federation account. Final dividend was declared last Friday by the shareholders, amounting to 2.1 trillion naira net of tax, withholding tax. And net profit margin for the group is at 14%, while the operating profit margin stood at 18%. Now, how does this look in real sense when we say earnings per share? Remember, we have 200 billion shares. And so when it comes to earnings per share, 16.49 naira per share. And in terms of dividend per share, it stands at 11 naira point 11 kobo. Of course, you know the dividend payout for the company is already enshrined in the law, in the PIA. It's 80% payout. It's a matter of compliance. And the return on equity is at 12%. And current ratio, which shows our ability to settle our current liabilities, is at 1:1. So it means we have sufficient near liquid assets to settle our current liabilities, 100%. In terms of debt to assets, it's literally 1.8%. So long-term survival of the company is assured. It's unlike in the past, when as a corporation, we had to get a going concern sustainability letter from the Federal Ministry of Petroleum Resources. It's no longer the case. So in totality, in 2023, we will say that the government, all types of government, the government take from this company of yours stood at 8.6 trillion naira. 537 billion naira has been paid as interim dividend. There is now 2.1 trillion naira dividend finally declared for payment. We also have royalties paid from our own operations of 2.15 trillion naira. We also have taxes, levies, and statutory deductions amounting to 2.6 trillion naira. And also assets under management by way of PSC and 40% profit on PSCs, as well as royalty on PSC production, those PSC assets still belong to the Federation. They don't belong to Nnpc. But we are obligated to pay 40% of the PSC profit into Federation account, and similarly all associated royalties, and also pay 30% into the Frontier Exploration Fund account, 30%, where we retain 30% under management. So it is really untrue for anyone to say Nnpc has not been remitting anything into the Federation account. This is 2023 performance. But you know, sometimes our principals, they know what we are doing. Our shareholders know what we are doing. It's not every issue that is out there in the social media that we have to respond to. Next slide. To clarify and to get it, make it very clear. We've seen also information out there that the company is over leveraged. That is far, far from true. The borrowings we have made so far by this company as outstanding at the end of 2023 are about 5 in number, 2 of which have also been fully repaid this year. We took $1 billion from Afrexim Bank to rehabilitate Port Harcourt Refinery. That is still ongoing and drawdowns are happening. And that goes exclusively to payment of invoices to the contractor Technimont under an escrow scheme arrangement. Secondly, we borrowed $1 billion just to ensure that the Dangote Refinery also continues its production, its construction activity unhindered, with the desire to take 20% equity. But subsequently, both of us, Nnpc and Dangote, agreed to scale down and take the equity stake that is equivalent to our $1 billion. So that $1 billion was paid directly to Dangote Industries Limited. It didn't even come to Nnpc coffers. The story out there is because we don't talk, we don't speak. In the past, we're a corporation. We probably could shout. As a Kama company, we have a responsibility to also ensure that we operate within the governance practices of a Kama company. We have shareholders, we have board. Typical Kama companies, even press releases, they have to be cleared with the board, or sometimes even the shareholders, before you make such type of statement. So we do not want to take every issue that is said out there, but I think what we have learned our lessons now, from time to time, we should be having this kind of media engagement with the chief executive and members to ensure that the public is aware of what this company is doing, so that we can actually try to clear out any falsehood that has been spread. In terms of revenue flows, yes, clearly indeed, Mr. Cardoso was here himself with his deputy governors, and we agreed to work collaboratively to ensure that when we bank with a bank, and when we say pay, that banker will pay. That wasn't the practice before him. So he has assured us that he will do that. And because of that, we have mandated all our inflows to move to CBN. And he has created a specific desk to address our payment instructions as and when we send them to Central Bank. Of course, the dollar inflows that come to improve foreign reserves, as it comes in, it is also that effect that we use to pay cash costs and also pay for the PMS we're importing, because we sell the PMS in Naira to Nigerians, so we have to have dollar to pay for that. My colleague, EBP Option, will talk to you in detail on the production, but the reality is that 1.7 includes condensate. No one has been paid kobo by Nnpc as in the name of subsidy. That means no marketer has received money from us by way of subsidy. What has been happening is that we've been importing PMS landing at a certain price, at a cost price, and government is telling us to sell it at half price. So the delta between that landed price and the half price is what we call shortfall, or we call it subsidy. And the deal is between Federation and ourselves to reconcile, and sometimes they give us money, sometimes we do net ups. So there is no money exchanging hands to any marketer or anybody in the name of subsidy. With respect to debt, we are in a business, this is the worldwide commercial norm. Trade credit lines are prevalent in this type of downstream business. Just like we give LCs, and marketers also give LCs when they are lifting our crude. So we also have what we call open credit. Open credit, somebody will give it to you on credit for 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days, even 180 days, or whatever. It is at the expiration of that period that you pay that relevant supplier. So similarly, we also sell to other people on open credit in the past, but now it's cash and carry for PMS. So with the people who are supplying, traders supplying this country PMS, we have such open credit lines agreed with them. And we owe them, yes, but we have timelines agreed for the payment. And that's why I say we're using our FX liquidity to pay as and when. The exact figure is not what they are quoting in the media, but my colleague EVP downstream is here. He will shed more light on what is happening on that side.
The outstanding to the suppliers, like the CFO said, it's not in the magnitude, exact magnitude that's been put out there. It's actually lower than that 6 billion. The most important thing really is the relationship between ourselves and our suppliers to ensure that we keep faith in making these payments to our suppliers, which we have done over time. You would understand that it's not a static figure, so I wouldn't want to be quoting a figure. When we make payments, it goes down. When we supply products, it goes up. So it's a moving, it's a dynamic number. But the most important thing is that our suppliers, the relationship between us and our suppliers, to ensure that we continue to make PMS particularly available across the country. We do our best to manage outside of our control, but we do our best to manage. It's not, we do not like to make excuses, but you would imagine, for example, we've had, since the rains began, the Estragos Channel has been difficult to navigate through. We have vessel after vessel going aground there because of siltation, and that has really hindered our ability to bring petroleum products, particularly PMS, up country. You'd also understand that with the rains also come situations where ability to discharge petroleum products is challenged. When you have lightning and thunderstorms, you have to suspend not just the discharge of petroleum products onshore, but also the evacuation from the tank farms. We've had situations such as that occur in recent times. We've also had issues with the road network, and that's also gives challenges in bringing those products up country. The tightness you see in Lagos currently was due to a very short supply gap, which we have since addressed. Vessels are in Lagos now, offloading as I speak, discharging as
architecture we put in place in 2022 has evolved to a more efficient, more responsive structure. Today, what we had in the past was that with the government security agencies, there was a total misalignment in their operations on how to address infractions in the Niger Delta. Today, we have a more responsive team that immediately we hear of infractions, they respond. And more importantly, they are even more proactive to ensure that they nip some of these infractions in the bud before they occur. So in that wise, I believe that we have reduced the turnaround time for when the infractions do occur, and we have also addressed some of the agitations in the Niger Delta region from even crystallizing to infractions. So in that wise, I believe this is what is paying off. We set up the war room when we saw the production go down the way it was in 2022. Immediately set up the war room and working with the government security agencies, we've been able to restore production to its current level, to the point where we got as high as 1.75 million barrels a day in August. So to address your concerns on whether this is the new normal going forward, yes, we will continue to improve on the performance that we have demonstrated is achievable, to the point where we will grow production. There are other things we are doing as well. In the midst of all these security issues, we've not been really drilling as we ought to. And if you know, as a student of oil and gas history, you will know that drilling is a reflection. The volume, the level of drilling that you undertake is a reflection of your performance in oil and gas operation. We've set up a rig share campaign, and we intend to ramp up our drilling programs in the entire oil and gas industry. So that in itself is taking a major it's being progressed, very expeditiously, and we believe that by the end of September we will have everything in place to support the drilling campaign for all IOCs. I also mentioned that the executive order by Mr. President is a major enabler for increased investment in the oil and gas industry. So in addition, despite the challenges we have with an enabling environment, some operators who are not impacted by security, because not all operators are impacted by security, will definitely embrace the enablers by Mr. President and improve on their investment in the oil and gas operation. So the culmination of all these factors will definitely stem the gap that we saw in the last couple of years
reached mechanical completion sometime last year and is about to start producing PMS now. We reached mechanical completion on the old Port Harcourt refinery, 60,000 barrels per day, at the end of last year. And I can tell you that we've worked very hard to get us to the point where I can clearly tell you that the CDU, that's the crude distillation unit, which is the primary producing unit, is currently working. It's been fired up. What basically, the CDU is basically a kettle. You put crude in it, you put fire under it, and it begins to distill, and then the vapors would gather. Now, when that process started earlier this month, and we are ramping up the heat, you do not start it up at the full heat level. You raise the heat incrementally to the point where you get full distillation. So the CDU in Port Harcourt refinery is working as I speak. When we will get products out, that's a combination of the process of testing. We will test. You don't get on-spec production immediately you start a refinery. You're going to get off-spec production. So we should be getting some off-spec production coming into tank in the next few days. But we will not be able to get that to the public until we get on-spec production, and which has been certified by NMDPRA. So the process of getting that to the public, like I said, is getting it certified by NMDPRA, and I'm optimistic that we should reach that point of getting it certified, getting our production from the old Port Harcourt refinery certified as fit for distribution by NMDPRA sometime in September. But as it is now, the unit is working. We're getting products. It's not just of the right spec yet.
The first is that the total gas production in Nigeria is about 6,289,000,000 scf per day. So it's important to note that that is the aggregate number. About 45% of this total quantum is earmarked for the export market, principally Nigeria LNG. About 2,799,000,000 scf per day is directed towards export. Specifically to the domestic market, the daily quantum is about 1,474,000,000 scf per day. But those are figures and statistics. And as you very much know, not just NNPC, but the society is focused on ensuring that this time around, the gas sector delivers for the good and resilient people of Nigeria. And that's our focus and mandate. And so a number of specific efforts are in flight. So we'll start from the governmental perspective. For the first time in our recent history, we've had a transition without any policy somersault. So the decade of gas, which is the holistic framework with a roadmap for gas development geared leveraging on gas to improve the economic conditions of the Nigerian people, has been maintained and is being given even more faith. And so this is a major success story, and kudos to the federal government of Nigeria for this policy consistency. The second is we've had several interactions. The EVP upstream spoke about the executive order. I think all gas sector participants are aligned in the realization that the executive order has been very successful in galvanizing and motivating additional investments in the gas sector. So that's a good foundation to build on. At the Nnpc level, we've also talked about the current efforts to grow production. million, fertilizer, methanol, just across the spectrum. And so this is something that will translate into employment, into revenue generation, and better living condition. Other areas are power, CNG, mini energy, etc. So we're in a unique time where we have across society alignment and cooperation to make sure that finally gas and the gas sector delivers for the good people of Nigeria, and that is our focus in NNPC. Thank you.
In the company, we have implemented recruitment strategies under our DEI, what we refer to the diversity, equality, and inclusion framework, to ensure that we actively include people with disabilities, such as those in wheelchairs and also visually impaired people. So as we speak, we have them in our organization, and we take pride as Nnpc today, as a leading organization in Nigeria that employ women and people with disability, and as well ensuring equal opportunity and compliance with federal guidelines. So you could see in terms of women population in NNPC at governance level is around 27%. That's unprecedented, but we are still growing, and we believe we could do more. And in terms of inclusivity for physically challenged, you could see in our recent exercises, the recruitment exercise. You would have noticed we took our time right from our advertorials in print media as well as in digital media as well, and going even to the extent of doing jingles in local dialects just to get people of all race, of all ethnicity, and all of that to apply. When I say race, please pardon me for that word, all ethnicity, to really apply into NNPC. So we don't discriminate. We don't discriminate on the basis of your disability, and we do not discriminate on the basis of your ethnicity and where you come from and what you believe or what you hold. So our criteria for employment in NNPC is purely your aptitude and competence. So once your skills are good, and of course you have the competency and the integrity, that you get into NNPC. And not only that, when they join NNPC, those with disability, so what we do for them, we give them a kind of accessibility tools and infrastructures. So you see in our workplace, provision of facilities such as ramps, such as toilet facilities for physically challenged, and also even electronic wheelchairs, and as well computer systems that actually translate the text to speeches and even hearing aids. So we provide this really to make them comfortable in our system. And again, in our portal, the recruitment portal that we have launched in the current recruitment exercise, we have adopted the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. That's an international standard, what we refer to the WCAG 2.0, 2.1, 2.2. And what that does basically is to allow you to implement or develop your content in a way that would allow people with disability to access and be able to utilize it. And we could see also from the statistics, over 2,836 applicants have indicated that they have special needs. So, which means that really they are people with one form of